Social media management is changing, so on today's show, we're diving into what it actually looks like in 2025.
Welcome to JFDI with the Two Lauras, the weekly podcast where we talk about all sorts of things related to working in social media, from marketing tips to finding clients, to firing clients, to making money and everything in between. On the show today, we're diving into the changing world of social media management and how it's changing in 2025 and what that means for you as a freelancer. So let's start out by talking about how it's actually changing. And I think the biggest thing that is changing is that finally, I think social media management is going to be considered as a high value service. It's taken a long time, but I feel like we are finally there.
Yeah, I think there's probably still a bit of work to do, but on the whole, I think 2025, I think will be the year people will realise that, or have realised going into 2025, that this is something that they need to invest in.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not a fad that's just going away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because they've had that light bulb moment, and because of everything that's changed so much recently, there's so many platforms now, they do so many things. Like just Instagram for one. Like how many different types of content can you create on Instagram? It's insane.
It is insane.
But I think because of that, business owners are now, they're not just looking for a social media manager. They're looking for an expert in whatever it is that they need. So whether that's an expert in a platform, an expert in a service they want, an expert in an outcome they're looking for, in an industry that they work in, they want somebody who is good at that thing that they need. Not somebody who is like spreading themselves thin across everything and knows a little bit about a lot. Yeah, exactly. They want someone who really knows their stuff on, whatever it is that can solve the problem they're having or get the result that they want.
Yeah, I think the platforms are so much more complex now.
Yeah.
I think, obviously this, I'm not talking about the Wendy's and the McDonald's of the world, but lots of businesses now can probably get what they want from far less platforms now. So they're focusing in on maybe one or two platforms that are perfect for them, and rather than just having a bit of a spray and pray, we've got to be everywhere. They've realised it's not just about being everywhere, it's about using it to get sales leads or whatever their goals are. So people are much more invested in those individual platforms. And they're, as you say, they're big enough. They're, I remember when my first Instagram client, it was just posting on the grid. That was it.
Yeah.
There were no stories, there were no reels, there were no broadcast groups. There was, I don't know whether there were bloody DMs. Yeah. It was a single image with a shit filter.
Yeah. Oh my God, those filters.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's the same now is hashtags.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was it wasn't searchable.
You couldn't even put line breaks in your captions.
No, you had to do ...
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, we're showing our age now.
We are showing our age, but so then I wouldn't have said Instagram was easy then.
No,
but it's much more complex now. You can literally be an Instagram manager, and that's a full-time job.
Yes. Definitely. And I kind of feel like the term social media manager is almost like it's
gone
out. It's gone. It's out.
Dead.
Like we will still refer to you all as social media managers because you know what we mean. But I think a client isn't looking for a social media manager anymore. They're looking for like an Instagram manager, like you just said, or a Facebook ads manager, or a LinkedIn person.
Well, interesting. The other day when I was having this, I think I spoke to you the other day, Laura, about it when I was talking to someone in this marketing agency, and he said to me what he was looking for is a retargeting expert.
Wow, that's really niche down.
Like, how niche can you get?
Yeah.
And it was really like, I even wrote it down because I thought, God, isn't that funny that's...
Yeah.
There's that small
So it's not even just an ads manager.
Yeah, that they are looking for an expert on. And he was like, we're just not good at that retargeting. We need a retargeting expert.
Wow. Well, that's very telling, isn't it?
Yeah. Because people were like, and obviously that's a marketing agency, so they understand the kind of
terminology
ins and outs of marketing probably more than, a business owner. But it just goes to show people are way more, businesses have so much more access to data information now. They can see what's working on their Shopify, they can see what's working in their Google Analytics, so they can identify exactly where things aren't working and they want to improve, or where things are really working and they want to kind of capitalize on that thing. So I think because we have that data and information and intelligence to kind of tell us what we need, that's what people then look for.
I'm stumped by that. That is like, I'm glad you didn't tell me that before this podcast, because I'm a bit like, wow, that is just a retargeting expert. Mate, let us know if you are one.
Yeah, well, they're on the lookout because I said no.
Love it. But I think just that conversation in itself just proves that social media is no longer a saturated industry. I mean, we never really thought it was anyway. But it's not a saturated industry because there's so many different pieces of it that people want to fill. And it's not just an overarching, I need a social media manager. It's I need a retargeting expert. I need an Instagram Reels person. There's all these tiny little pockets that people need help with. And no one's really focusing down enough on that, even though there's a demand.
Well, the people who are the ones who are flying.
Raking it in. Yeah.
The ones that have gone very focused and are positioning themselves well now are the ones who are making headway, and they're being found. They're being, because they are the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
A social media manager per se it's too big to fill that plug.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Random way to explain that, but yes.
I was trying to think, is there a saying that I can chuck out here? And I couldn't think of one, so I thought, I'll make
even if there was, I'm sure you wouldn't know what it was.
No. So that's my saying. Just pop that on a graphic by Laura Davis. No need to tag me, it's fine.
I love it.
Anyway, sayings aside, so it's not saturated. We've got to own it. And if you put your head above the parapet, you'll be found. Is that a phrase?
That is a phrase. That is a phrase. Well done. And I feel like this is where people start to panic and that scarcity mindset comes in, because they're like, oh yeah, but if I only speak to that thing, then I'm going to miss out on all of these other opportunities. But by not doing that, you're missing out of all the opportunities that are there for you, because the people who want this premium service don't know you offer it.
And people want this specific service, they will pay for the specific service. And that's the difference. You can carry on, if you want to, carry on being a social media manager. But then if you're jealous of all the LinkedIn experts, the Instagram managers, the retargeting experts who are charging, 4 figures minimum, then, well, you've got no one else to blame but yourself, quite frankly.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so what does that actually mean for you then as a listener? Now you know all this stuff. How can you kind of tap into that, I suppose, is the next question. And for me, I feel like that starts with that premium client experience that you need to offer. That starts right from the very first interaction, the first interaction being what it is you call yourself, the problem that is that you're talking about and all of that stuff, and runs right through from that very first interaction until you're not working with them anymore.
Yeah. You've got to think, what makes me premium? What makes me stand out? What makes me attractive to somebody who is seeking a premium service? And that, as you say, will go back to how you describe yourself, how you're showing up on your socials. You've got to think, I am the dog's chods. And
I've never heard that saying in my life. The dog's what?
Chods.
Chods?
Yeah. Like
is that
dogs.
A Brummie thing?
I don't know, because I'm not a Brummie.
Or is it a middle of the country thing?
Don't know. I think maybe I've made it up. Dog's bollocks.
You have, yeah.
Can someone let me know if dog's chods
I've heard of mutts nuts, but not dog's chods.
Oh, see, I've never heard of mutts nuts.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's a southern thing.
Okay, so if anyone's heard of Dogs Chods, can you all let me know? If you haven't, could you also maybe let me know? And because otherwise you can get that one on a graphic as well, because I'm
Welcome
owning
to
that
the
one.
premium
Dogs
client
Chods.
experience of our podcast. Oh, I love it. What not to talk about in your premium content?
Yeah, I definitely suggest not talking about the Dogs Chods, mutts, nuts on your content if you're trying to. Yeah, that's more Aldi. You want to be more Marks and Spencer's Waitrose.
Yeah, Harrods. Yeah,
Harrods.
totally. Yeah, I don't think they would have anything to do with Dogs Chods. I love it.
Yeah, so you've got to think, right, let's just move on. Yeah, you've got to think from that very first interaction, and remember, you might not know about that interaction yet.
Well, you won't know about it, will you?
No. So they've landed on your website, or they've found you on social, or maybe someone's recommended you. Right from that point, right then to all the time they're working with you, that service you are providing needs to be premium. Like the best.
We're talking, you get on the plane and you don't turn right and go and sit in economy. You're going into first class. Like, it's a different service, isn't it? You're getting proper knife and fork. Someone's pouring you the champagne.
You're getting salt and pepper pots.
Totally.
Yes. You're getting to stretch your legs.
Your dinner is on a plate, not in a plastic thing.
Yes. Oh, that would be nice. Come on.
So, yeah, but I feel like you need to just think about that the whole time. And so few social media managers do that. So that is, again, is another way for you to stand out as that premium person.
Yeah.
Right from the get-go. And like, I know we joke about the mutts, nuts and all of that stuff, but it is about being careful what you're talking about and not talking about the things that will put people off you because you don't look like you're premium. You know, like there's lots of things you shouldn't be talking about on your socials because they don't put you in that premium bracket. Like, yeah, you might be having a really stressful time. You might be really tired. Your kids might be keeping you up all night. As soon as you start talking about how tired and stressed you are, it may well resonate with some of your audience. But the people who want to try pay you 4 figures are going to think you're too tired. You're going to make mistakes on my account. Yeah. And it puts them off. So you need to think about those things.
I saw someone the other day put something about having, how much they've enjoyed not being on social. I think they'd been on holiday. And I get it. Like, come tell us that.
Yeah.
Come in the inner hub. Come offload. Like, we all get it. And 2 social media managers can resonate over that together. But that is not what's going to appeal to your target audience. Because they don't want to know that you're feeling burnt out or you're hating social media, or they don't need to know that. They want to think that you absolutely love it. You eat, sleep, breathe social media. You are the best ever. Like, they need that perception that you love it, because the chances are they probably don't, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone who's got the passion to do the best they can. So really think about sometimes how that comes across.
Like, just a tiny flip of that. It was nice to have a break from social, but I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah,
would be so much better.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what have I missed? Who have I missed? What's happening?
Yeah.
And that's probably more conversational than a load of people going, oh yeah, I hate social media. Like, that's not going to attract anybody. That's attracting the wrong people, wrong messaging.
Totally.
So it does start there, doesn't it? But let's have a think about, or no, let's not have a think. That would be a very quiet podcast. Let's have a discussion about what does, in our opinion, make a premium service for clients? Like, what are they looking for?
I think, there's loads of different things. So these are not in any particular order, but I think like little things, like when you are onboarding a client, getting access to their accounts in the quickest, smoothest, easiest possible way. And that might start way before you take on that client by simply asking them, have you got access to your accounts? Have you got your passwords? Because so many people take on clients without actually even asking that. And then when they get to the onboarding, they can't even log in because the client gave the password to someone who left 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
And I can hear people now going, oh yeah, but Meta changes everything. It does. And I'm with you on that. You think you know how to get added to an admin, and then you realise that you're talking to client, you're just onboarding them and you've assumed it's the same. So you've told them what they need to do, and that's not the case. So then you end up looking like a complete pillock.
Yeah.
So that is not a premium service. So you need to be thinking, right, I'm onboarding this client. Let me go and remind myself. Let me go and check what is happening in terms of how we're getting access to our clients' accounts now. Just you have to think, I think, when things are so fast moving and changing all the time on social media, always before you give your client some instructions or make some bold statements, just check that things haven't changed, because the chances are they have.
Yeah. Especially because if you're not onboarding a client regularly, because your clients are sticking with you for a long time, it might be months between onboarding clients. It might be literally 3, 6, 9 months, however long since you last had to access somebody's account. Set up a test account and do it that way, so you can actually go through the process and see what happens, rather than just hoping for the best or Googling it and finding some out of date instructions that don't work.
Yeah, I agree. I think another thing that I can see being a huge frustration for clients and them definitely not feeling like they're receiving a premium service is when the communication is a bit haphazard all over the place. Haphazard, God, it's all coming out today.
Yeah, that's not a word, is it?
It's all over the place. You're interrupting them all the time because you're saying, oh, can I have this? And can I have your logo? And can I have this and that and the other? You need clear systems and clear communication channels.
Yeah.
And you need to give them an expectation. And you may, it's about setting boundaries, isn't it? So you may say, look, for the first week, I will be messaging you X, Y, Z. After that, you will only hear from me X, Y, Z. So you're setting those boundaries because that protects you as well. We all know that we don't like to have communications 24/7. But it's about setting those boundaries, but also those having the systems in place so the client feels like when they're being onboarded that they have confidence that you know what you're doing. It's slick. It's an enjoyable experience, and there's no friction. Because the worst thing is where you're asking questions and then going back and asking them again because you hadn't realised that they've already filled it out on your onboarding form, or something's not uploaded, so you've not seen their answers. So then you've got to ask them again. It's that kind of you know it yourself. Those kind of things will really annoy people, and when they're busy, which chances are they are, because that's why they've hired you, the last thing they want is to be having repetition, to being constantly interrupted. All of that that's not Harrods.
Totally.
That's Iceland.
I totally agree. Yeah, for sure. And I think on the whole overwhelming asking them too many questions, I think also you can give them too much information and overwhelm them that way, and that's not premium either. And I think when you're a social media manager, there's so much data that you could potentially give to a client. And sometimes we think, oh, they're paying me so much money, I need to tell them everything, to kind of make yourself feel like you are justifying that fee. So when it comes to your reporting, you're like, oh, I'll tell them how many views we've had, how many impressions, how many likes, how many comments, how many shares, how many link clicks. And you tell them all of these different numbers. And so then they get the report and they're like, well, the fuck does all this mean? This doesn't mean anything to me. And so it's all about just the premium service is telling them the answer to the biggest question that they've got. So they don't have to think about it. They don't have to try and interpret that data. You've done that for them. If we were looking at our Instagram and going through all of our Instagram analytics, that is a time-consuming thing. That's making us take time out of doing something else, go and looking at all of that data, and then trying to translate what we want to know from that. Whereas if we had a social media manager who just, once a month or however often, just said to us, by the way, this kind of content is really resonating. This is what we should do more of. This is why it's resonating, because I'm seeing that there's lots of people landing on your website anytime I talk about it. That is way more valuable than a load of data.
Yeah, I agree. And that's coming from a data girl.
Yeah. Well, you can do the data bit and then, analyse it into the result.
I think another frustration that could appear if you don't do this properly is not setting those expectations for your clients, so they know what's coming. So what you don't want to do is the client not be aware that you're going to spend the first few weeks doing your strategy and then thinking the contract is signed and the next day you put content out, because then you'll end up putting content out because you don't want to annoy them and you put shit content out. And the worst thing you can do is your first few posts are shit. They're not strategic. They're just... Well, to be fair, the worst thing you can do is consistently put shit content out. But in those very early days when they're nervous, especially if they've never hired somebody before, and they're possibly a little overbearing and overwhelmed by the fact that somebody else is doing their content and is it going to be good enough? And they're staring and criticizing everything. And you've got to make sure that first lot of content is amazing. So giving your clients a clear timeline of this is what's going to happen, this is what I will need from you, this is when I will do this. We've worked with people before and they just tell us this is how it works. This is my expectations of you, this is your expectations of me, this is what will happen if you don't do that. It's very clear and you just know where you are. There's no messing around. You don't feel a bit confused. You don't really know, well, is today going to be the day they're going to start posting, or what's she doing? There's none of that, which is going to create doubt in their mind.
And when we have been in those situations where we haven't had those expectations, we have been like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, come on, we've paid you. What's happening? Because we don't know what's happening.
It's just silence.
And we're in this business, so we know that what should be happening. But if it hasn't been explained to us what actually is happening, we still have those doubts.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely clear timelines, clear expectations for everybody. So everybody is all on the same page. And I suppose that stems back to what I was saying before. It's about just clear, easy, simple communication. And just always be thinking, how is this coming across? When you're sat down and you're thinking about the experience that you give a client, think of it from their perspective. Obviously, it's not just about the information you need and what you need. It's about how they're experiencing that.
Yeah. I just want to pick up on something that you just said a minute ago about those first posts need to be amazing. Don't put too much pressure on yourself for that and be like, oh God, I'm really scared about those first posts. Because if you've done your job well and you've done that strategy, which you will have done because you're a premium, luxury, high value social media manager, you know what you're doing, those posts will already be better than what they were doing without. You already know more than they do. So don't think to yourself that this isn't, you're not trying to create a rocket. This isn't rocket science.
It doesn't have to be viral.
It doesn't have to go viral. It just needs to be speaking to the right people, using the right strategy, using the right tone, all of that stuff. So don't now start thinking, oh my God, I'm really scared about those first posts. That's not what we want you to feel like.
No, absolutely
just remind yourselves that you do know what you're doing.
You do. And when you know what you've posted is strategically correct, then you can just own that. Because if a client was to question it, you then know you have the information to be able to say, well, look, I've done this because we're doing this and we're testing this and this is why we're doing that. And based on my research, when I did the strategy, this, that. Whereas if you go in there and just post anything, or you go in there just thinking, oh, well, what I'm going to do first is make their grid look pretty. That shit.
I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that's a podcast number.
Totally. 500. We've probably already done it, haven't we?
Probably. So and obviously we've talked about it, but just to reiterate, there has to be a strategy.
Yeah.
You're offering a premium service. If you're not providing or not creating and spending time on a strategy and planning out strategic campaigns, then you're just putting posts on social media. You're not marketing.
Totally. And that isn't a premium service. That service doesn't command a 4-figure fee.
No.
It's the strategic one that does. And like you just said about the strategy, putting together a strategic campaign to actually get them results, that's a premium service. It's just thinking about all of those things.
Yeah.
The other thing that you said to me earlier is that you need to have systems that work and they're not clunky. And when you said that to me, I was like, oh, what do you mean by that? What makes that premium? Do you want to talk about that?
Well, I think we've kind of touched on it, but kind of haven't. But it's things like being added to their systems as admin. It's about using any tools that you might use. You want those systems to work. It's not clunky and things, because it's going to create tension with a client, isn't it?
I had a situation like this actually, where somebody sent me a contract to sign, and they sent it to me in a Word document, wanting me to sign this contract and email it back to them. Now, they work in a big office. To them, it's easy. You print it out, you sign it, you put it back on the photocopier, you scan it, you can email it. I'm at home. I've got a home printer, and we all know that they never work. So, like, how am I going to sign it? Whereas if they'd have sent it to me in a tool that I could sign it, even in Google Docs, because you can now sign in Google Docs, I could have signed it, sent it straight back to them. And that frustrating experience of not being able to do that could be the difference between like a premium service or not.
And on that note, what I find, again, it's about thinking, yes, you need to have your contract signed, so this is what I'm going to do. Think about it from their perspective. So if you've decided I'm going to use, and I know Google Docs in that situation is available and free, but if that didn't exist and you were using a tool for this example where they can sign it, but you decide to go for the free option and it's frustrating and they have to download something and it ends up taking what should be a quick job of reading a contract and signing it, it takes ages, nothing's working, you're going to have to get your laptop out, you have to download it. Like, all of those things are irritating. They would irritate me. And yes, I'm not saying that this is going to be someone going, oh God, this is so annoying, I'm not going to work with you anymore.
No.
But it's not the service people expect.
And it's just the niggle after niggle after niggle that then starts making people think like that.
Yeah. So then when something slightly bigger happens, they probably take it way out of proportion and go, you know what? I think we just need to call it a day. And it's never, and you're like, what? Well, it was only one typo. But actually, it's not that one thing. It's been a series of things that potentially people have had frustration and friction with.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. In terms of like this premium service that we're talking about, I think it's really important that when we're talking about a premium service, you're not just offering a premium service and charging pennies. This is a premium service that you are charging a premium rate for. Like, we're talking 4 figures for this kind of service. And actually, like, we strongly believe that social media management is a 4-figure service. You should be charging that much moving into 2025. So just have a think about that as well, and making sure that, you know, you're on that like wavelength with your fees and you're speaking to people who've got that amount of budget to spend as well when it comes to that service.
Yeah, think Harrods.
Totally. Harrods, not Asda.
Yeah.
Love it. I mean, Asda might hire you for 4 figures, but, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, you'd hope that they would. But anyway. Okay, so in 2025, we're offering a premium service. How are we going to find those people?
I think it starts with switching your messaging now. Like
yesterday.
And we've probably said this before, but it's very easy to get stuck into this rut where you are talking to the audience you have rather than talking to the clients you want. So you need to start talking to the clients that you want to attract. And if your audience isn't those people, that's fine. They can still stick around. You need to start making sure that you're talking to the people who you want to work with, the people who are going to charge those 4 figures. So it's about changing not just your process and all of that stuff, but changing your messages to really speak to those people so that they understand that this is for them. And the people who aren't 4-figure clients, they can still stick around. You can still offer them other things, but they're not going to be your long-term people. And they will start to see, oh, okay, this is a high quality, high value, you know, high ticket service. So then when you do offer them something lower ticket, like, you know, Power Hours or something, they're going to bite your hand off because it seems like a bloody bargain.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're talking to the high figure people, you're not losing out on the low figure.
Yeah, you definitely probably want to take stock of where you're at the moment. So go and look at the previous leads that you've had, the inquiries, the people you've had discovery calls with. Go and have a look at who they are. Go and look at your current messaging and try to learn where you're going wrong. And sometimes it's just a tweak, isn't it? It's the words that you use that can attract the right people and repel the wrong people.
Yeah. Like, what problems are those high value people having? Because they're not the same problems that someone who's going to pay you a few £100 are having. They're totally different problems. You need to find out what they are. And they're totally different results that they're looking for. Or they might be the same results, but those low ticket people are never going to get those results because they don't have the things in place that they need to be able to get those results.
Yeah. Yeah. These aren't people who are wanting their first lead or their first sale.
No.
These are people who are way further down the line. They're looking for more. They're scaling.
Yes. Yeah. They're not worried about what to post on Instagram. No. That's not their problem. Their problem is getting more from what they're already posting or getting more sales from Instagram, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not worried about what to post on social because they're happy to get someone else to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think like this podcast could go on and on and on, and no doubt we will talk about this in numerous podcasts in 2025. So we will leave it at that. But we're happy to continue the conversation over on Instagram, so come and find us on there. We are over there as the two Lauras, and we would love to know what you think and whether you are going to be embracing this premium service for 2025. Like, we know things are changing. We know that people are looking for experts and all of that stuff, and social media management is finally being considered as that high value service. So is this something you're going to embrace? Come and let us know.
Yeah, we hope so.
And we'll be back same time, same place next week with more.
We will indeed.
We'll see you then.
See you then.
Au revoir.
Bye.